The Pentagon has a lot more control over Hollywood than you might expect or know about. In fact, reporting from The Guardian finds that the FBI and Department of Defense have vetted films prior to their release throughout Hollywood's history.
Our next guest is here to answer why. The funky academic, aka Irami Osei-Frimpong, he joins us now to discuss Setting My Watch. Irami, you got 8 minutes. Go.
So it's not obvious why media is important. People just think that they have access to what they need to know, right? Even about themselves. How could some expert tell me something about myself that I don't know? So why do I even need media, right? So there's this illusion that we have access to truth immediately. But then it's funny because I read an article a few years ago about skiers who break their fibula. Fibula is the bone right behind your shin bone. They break it all the time. They have no idea. They go through the whole ski season thinking, well, their muscles are sore. And then after the ski season ends, they're still in pain, so they go to the doctor. The doctor takes an x-ray. The doctor interprets the x-ray, and then the doctor tells them that, your fibula has been broken for 3 months, and now it's healed incorrectly. So this skier didn't even have immediate access to the truth about themselves. They needed it to be mediated through at least two institutions. The x-ray machine, which is one, but since I don't know how to read an x-ray, I need a doctor who's had the cultural understanding to actually interpret the x-ray machine in order for me to know the truth about myself, right? And so what does this have to do with political truths? It's the same deal, right? We don't actually know the truth about ourselves, our social and political entanglements, without a media. And that's what the media does. It mediates. And it mediates in a way that enables the truth. Now, if the media is distorted, that means it gives everyone a distorted understanding of reality. If for some reason the x-ray machine is broken, or for some reason the doctor's a hack, either way, like what they will tell me about myself won't be the truth. It'll be a distortion calibrated to whatever kind of distortion that they've internalized, right? So we need media, whether the media is a microscope that tells me the truth about the cell, or in order to find out the truth about ourselves and about the truth about our entanglements. So this idea that we can just kind of go about our life without a responsible media is not serious about the project of self-government insofar as we're serious about the project of realizing truth and freedom in the United States. So we need the media to actually do its job. And also we need to know what the media is, so we need to know that it's not distorting us. And to know what something is also entails knowing its relationship to other institutions. I need to know that it turns out that major movies want to be sold in China, so they might actually tailor their scripts to the CPP censors. I need to know that maybe Hollywood wants to use all of the U.S. military's goodies to have a very high quality production. So they will send their script to the Pentagon, the Department of Defense liaison for entertainment, to get it approved by the Department of Defense so that they can film on the base, right? So these aspects, these relationships that the media company has with things that aren't the media company actually inform the product in a way that actually might distort my understanding of the truth through the way that culture mediates the knowledge and the stories of my life, right? Meaning in my life. So it would be one thing if, say, Hollywood before the movie had a Department of Defense official saying, the Department of Defense approves of this product, as if it were a political advertisement, right? But that's not the case. If I'm correct, right? Prior to us talking, Crystal, you didn't know that the Department of Defense collaborated on so many movies, right?
Yep.
That matters, right? That the Department. Saga knew. Right. So, and you saw the list that I gave you. It's not a small number. Pretty much everything that looks good because it looks like it was filmed on the base has been greenlit by the base. which might not be good for, our understanding of truth. And if that's not known, if it's not a public process, we don't know that we're being fed quite a bit of propaganda. Now,
so, Irami, what do you think is the consequence of that? Because I think the pushback would be if I put people in that, well, of course they've got to approve it. If you're using U.S. government resources, whether it's their equipment or their property, then of course they're going to have some approval over it. So what's the big deal?
Well, the big deal is that it might distort our understanding of reality. There's a book by a guy by the name of Jason Stanley. He teaches over at Yale, and he's like, look, in liberal regimes, we have to do propaganda, but we do propaganda through omission. We do propaganda through not telling you all of the aspects of the story so that you can choose to do what we wanted you to do anyway, right? We just leave out the parts we don't want you to see. And authoritarian regimes, they have like censors. They have a minister of truth who decides this is what's there and this is what's not. So this ability to decide what gets left out of the movie actually distorts the character of, or the media distorts the character of the product, right? So it'd be one thing if this was like I said, if this was like a public process where we knew why certain films, and there was an appeal process also, we knew why certain films were denied access to the base and the machinery, or we knew why certain films were approved. Right? If there was a public appeal process, because without that, what you have is the DOD deciding culture. Because in order to now compete with the big franchises, you need the DOD's approval, or you won't have a product that actually looks as good. Right? So it distorts the market in a way that kind of closes out any competition in a way that's uncomfortable. So you could still have this process if it were a public process about what it took to get approved, if there were a public appeal process about what it took to get denied, then I think it would change the character. So we could actually still have this collaboration without the collaboration distorting the product away from truth. And we need to just be honest that we actually need war movies to understand war. I started thinking about this watching the new Captain America franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
the one on Marvel. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right, the one on Marvel. Right. So the big story, or one of the big subplots, is America ready for a Black Captain America? To which I thought is silly, because we already had a Black president. That's not a big deal to me. Is America ready for a Captain America who takes Black people's problems as American problems rather than just making Black people's problems, because America caused Black people to have the problems that they have. So that's the kind of Captain America I want. Plus, I'm not a big fan of first stories because I don't think first is particularly progressive. I don't want to hear about the first coal miner who became a billionaire, or the first coal miner's kid who became a billionaire. I want to hear about the last coal miner's kid who had to worry about his parents getting black lung and what it took to make that happen, right? Yeah. So who gets to decide what's progress? And who gets to decide? And, I've been teaching ethics for a long time. I'll tell you the truth. When 24 was on television, it was harder to teach philosophy without these ticking bomb scenarios screwing up the students' minds. So, media matters. Media matters. It screwed up an entire generation. 24 screwed up an entire generation of thinkers, of ethical thinkers, and I'm glad it's gone.
Very interesting.
And the Hunger Games was actually good, because before the Hunger Games came out, I had to make all of my illusions using Twilight, and that was a very, very dark time in my life.
That's a very
We need Irami's list of your movie list.
Yeah, put it out, man. I'll tweet it out. Let me know.
Well, the Hunger Games actually dealt with media in a way that was actually a little bit fascinating. So, you could have these collaborations, and an exposition of these collaborations is very important for us to know what product we're dealing with, but it has to be public for us to actually know what's propaganda and what's actually, and what's
No arguments there, Irami. All right, we're out of time. Exactly 8 minutes. You made it. We appreciate it, sir.
Great to see you, sir. Have a good one.
Take care.
More Rising for you all after this.